are joining a cruise ship tomorrow, and this evening we're... Good evening. This may be difficult to comprehend, but it is July the 15th, and today we have flown from Heathrow to Vancouver with Air Canada, and we are joining a cruise ship tomorrow, and this evening we are in the Sutton Place Hotel in Vancouver, and very fortunately we have been given a suite, and it is very, very nice indeed. We have a nice sort of formal area here, and this leads through into a bedroom, nice bed, and obviously private bathroom, etc. And beautiful views of the downtown area of Vancouver. We are on the 17th floor. Just looking at the window here, one cannot even hear the slightest noise of the traffic downstairs. Anyway, tomorrow morning we shall be doing a little bit of a tour of Vancouver prior to joining the Island Princess tomorrow afternoon and sailing at about 5:30. Anyway, we're just out to have a good night's sleep because the local time here is just gone 10 o'clock, but as we're 8 hours behind the UK, it's now 6 o'clock in the morning, and we've literally been awake for 24 hours, and it's suddenly just hitting us. So we'll see Vancouver tomorrow morning. It's Saturday morning, 16th of July, and this is the hotel we've stayed in Vancouver after flying in yesterday evening. Very nice indeed. We had a little sort of suite, as you saw, and we're now going to make our way down to Stanley Park, have a look around, but just to show you, Vancouver appears to be a very vibrant and busy city. Lots of new buildings and things like that. Very dull and overcast at the moment. Let's hope it's not going to rain. We've walked down to Stanley Park, which is literally almost an island, jetting out into Vancouver Harbour. But we've now just hired a bicycle and we're going for a ride around the park. But just thought you'd like to see this view.
That's right, they did it on Thursday.
And in the centre here, just behind there, is the cruise port where we will be going later on today. So we just moved on round the park, another sort of half a mile or so, another view of the harbour, and we believe that this is the Island Princess that we're going on later today. And then we have some totem poles behind Wendy's Head. Let's go and have a look at those. And here we are with the totem poles. I think we will learn a lot more about this history and design of totem poles a little bit later in the cruise. Again, we've just moved on a bit further. Another sort of general view of the harbour area. This tug is obviously towing a big barge. Exactly what that's for, you don't know. And then we're sort of coming in onto the northern Vancouver. And here we have the Lions Gate Bridge, as I am told by Sue. Obviously a suspension bridge for access to the mainly residential area of northern Vancouver.
Yeah, it's easy to do. It's certainly the facility to do that, really. I think most computers can do that now.
Yes, yeah.
It's impressive, isn't it?
Okay, and we just travelled on another few hundred yards to the base of the bridge.
That's not the Brunel Bridge, is it? You're talking about like...
Quite a big bridge, really. And then on out to the west, which this channel leads to the sea, and in fact this is the route we'll be coming later on today.
These are these sort of weatherproof.
That one was £14.
It's now just after 5 o'clock, and as you can see, we're now on board the Island Princess, and we should be leaving in about 10 minutes time or so. But just look at the view. In the distance behind the seaplane is Stanley Park, around which we cycled this morning. The weather, as you can see, has picked up dramatically, and it's a beautiful temperature and very clear skies, and just very pleasant indeed. This is on the starboard side of the ship. Just to give you just a flavour of Vancouver and its environs.
Unless you come over.
Oh, in the Rockies. Oh, lovely. Sorry.
In the wheelhouse, which is theatre. Well, we won't actually air it. We'll be up here that very long.
Stanley Park immediately in front of us, where we cycled this morning. Following immediately behind us is the Royal Caribbean ship, the Radiance of the Seas.
If you begin to cast your eye over to the port side of the ship, the University of
We've now just moved back to our cabin, and we're on the starboard side. Just this panoramic view of the mouth of Vancouver Harbour. It's just beautiful. Obviously you can see just mountains in the distance. Just stunning. Well, we're still coming out from Vancouver, but as we come out towards the sea and Victoria Island, the scenery is just getting better and better. You've got snow, etc. in the distance. These are, well, mountains. Just a beautiful view. The weather really helps it. As you can see, it's hardly cloud in the sky. Beautiful temperature, nice cool breeze, and it's just stunning. Good morning. It's 7 o'clock in the morning on Monday, and we've travelled up from Vancouver, travelling at sea all day yesterday, and here we are in the port of Ketchikan in Alaska. The first port of entry, if you like, on the way north on the Inside Passage. The small town of Ketchikan. It's a population of about 15,000, and was originally sort of discovered in about 1793 by Captain George Vancouver, but the area didn't really take off until about 1893, when gold was discovered in these there hills. Anyway, we're just about to have a bit of a tour of the town and look at some totem poles, so here we go. Well, we've just walked ashore in Ketchikan, and this is actually our first sight of the ship complete from the shore, and obviously it's pretty big. 92,000 tons, I believe. And our cabin is this one, this one. On the starboard side of the ship, cabin C637. And interestingly, as you can possibly see, there's another 2 cruise ships tied up behind ours. That's the Island Princess in the distance. Then here we've got Norwegian Spirit. And the Volendam here. Just starting to rain. As you can see, it's very dull and overcast now. We just started our land tour from the ship in Ketchikan, and we've come to a totem pole park.
Well, welcome everybody to Totem Bight State Historical Park. A little background here. This project was started in 1930. It was a part of the Civilian Conservation Corps, which is actually very wealthy and very influential. It is not common to see a Chilcot blanket carved or painted on a pole, but that signifies his wealth because Chilcot blankets, first off, they're made by goat's wool, which is difficult for them to acquire. And once they've acquired the wool, it would take a master weaver 6 months to a year to weave this Chilcot blanket. So only the very... It's a human. Alright, we're animals. Now, okay, this human, is he a man or a woman? Okay, he's a man. What I'm going to do, we're playing a guessing game. I want you folks to tell me what this totem pole is named. We have man, what's he wearing?
Nothing.
Nothing, he's naked. No. What's he wearing up here? Come on. A hat? What kind of hat? The pole was created for the chief of the Bear Clan. Now, the Bear Clan, they had always carved the bear with closed mouth and smiling. This one obviously a little different. Now, this is a memorial pole for the chief of the Bear Clan. On top of the bear you see a whale fin. It's the Blackfish fin. That tells me that his wife was probably of the Blackfish clan. Now, interesting story behind this pole. That's pretty much it. Other than that, this is just like an original clan house. Now, interesting to note that clan houses back then and this one are created without any nails. So this is all completely tongue and groove. Now, the native people, when they moved to an area, they put up the clan house. When they would move, sometimes they would pull out a few key beams, take the whole thing apart, and take it with them. Now, this particular clan house is a good example of what would be the chief's house, and I'll tell you why. A few reasons. One, it's huge. This is a big clan house for a clan.
This is obviously the outside of the clan house that we've just seen a few moments ago.
Good, the bad, and the ugly. Good, bad.
Ugly. I said it. is the famous Creek Street, or Ketchikan Creek, which is probably the oldest part. But this is the creek where the salmon return to spawn, and in the spring this is absolutely packed with salmon. You can hardly see the water for the salmon. Very picturesque, very, very pretty. Just starting to rain again. Very interesting.
Want to, and bring your money, and we'll all have a good time. And you better bring your old lady, because I'm just the daytime dolly.
Okay, thank you.
Nowadays, the guys have to bring their own ladies to a place like this, as we are the daytime dolly. I don't work the night shift, thank goodness. I don't think my husband would like it. They wouldn't be working as very long as it was.
Very, very good. We've made our way back to the ship, and very shortly we should be setting sail for Juneau, and possibly observing whales as we go through this evening. Well, there you can see Wendy and Sue in their balcony cabins.
There they are.
Well, it's pouring with rain again. Rain is in ample supply here in Ketchikan. We're told it has something like 12 to 13 feet of rain per year. It's now 2:30, and as you can see, we have ships just lining up ready to come in to take our place. Ketchikan appears to be one of the float-plane capitals of this side of the US and Canada. We have this one just taking off. Here. Sorry, there it is there. And another one here. Another one behind it. And another one just going out. There's one just taking off towards us. was interesting, wasn't it? That's all Dolly's customers returning after lunch. Because all the cruise ships. Can you imagine what Dolly would have been like though? This one's obviously anchored here, but there's another cruise ship just coming in behind it to take our place. And then off we go out through the harbour and the entrance in front of us. We are well out on our way from Ketchikan, but interestingly we've come past the place where we were this morning with these totem poles, which you can just see now in the centre of the frame.
I went up first so I could catch
Well,
it.
that's right. As in maybe. This is some wet rain.
Yeah, you can see the house. You're right. That is the plan.
Just to give you an idea of the view, the restaurant here is at the front of the ship, overlooking the bow, and you can see the stunning views we've got as we're going out from Ketchikan. Well, we're heading out now. We've been travelling about 3 hours, and beautiful scenery. Spoilt, I'm afraid, by some very heavy showers of rain, etc. We have just seen some dolphins in the water, but we're starting to approach an area where reputedly we could very well see some whales and dolphins and porpoises, etc. And even starting to see seals, etc. Good morning. It's Tuesday morning. It's about 6:30 a.m. and we've just this moment come alongside in Juneau, which is the actual capital of Alaska. Very calm morning at the moment, about 60 degrees. The Norwegian Spirit ship in front of us appears to be following us around, probably on a similar itinerary. But, today we are going off on a whale watching trip. So hopefully things will be promising. The weather doesn't look too bad. It looks like it's going to be a very calm day. Let's hope there's no rain at least. But Juneau is the only landlocked capital, I believe, in the world. There are no roads leading out of this place, which It's interesting to say the least. Mildenhall Glacier, we can just see in the distance.
Are there two? Yeah. Just one. Did you see the other one, Tom?
Yeah.
Oh, see that one behind?
Oh, that one, yeah, that one's
Yeah.
blowing up right behind us.
I've got the
You'll
one.
notice out here the boat wakes that
Between the
on a calm day like this will roll at the surface
That's
just like
another
a humpback whale's back comes to the surface.
Yeah.
So the blow is really the distinctive part, right about our 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock positions. I don't think this whale's gone down on that terminal dive yet. Yep, there it is.
Going again.
For dive here.
Cool.
Yeah, the white.
Yeah, these are killer whales.
And the others have been humped in.
Yeah. These are all killer whales. These are killer whales.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Oh, and these ones, look at the
¿Estás viendo, Pablo?
How do they get up there?
Yeah. Yeah, see them? They're so heavy. It's cool. But the smaller? Oh,
They're not smaller than ours.
they are. We get closer.
We're not in the aquarium, so they look big.
If you start getting closer, then jump in the water.
Just look at these stunning views.
spin around so the people on the right-hand side will get a chance to see these guys as well. They're so nice being stationary. Head off and look for more adventures. If that's not exactly what we want. It's our St. Augustine exercise program.
When you go fast.
Trees over the nest, it looks like a bale of hay, gray twigs with some bright green leaves attached to it. Flat spot in the tree there. Folks, we're going to be heading on. There's Eagle. We're going to be
Cheers over there. This is the difference between, you know, you've got this lush green one here.
Good morning, it's now Wednesday the 20th and we've travelled overnight from Juneau to Skagway and it's now coming up to 7:30 in the morning and we're off on a tour later on today on some gold panning and a trip on this train which is going to take us up into the mountains. Looks a reasonable day again. We've been lucky so far. Anyway, let's go and have a look at Skagway. Oh, we've just walked down the pier and down the road from the ship. We've got something like another 3 or 4 ships in dock here in Skagway. But only a small place. Seems very nice. Is Miss Locomotive 2005. These statues are to commemorate the opening up of the Klondike gold mines in this area. Which we'll be having a little look at later on this afternoon. This literally does appear to be a one-street town. Obviously it's quite old. It looks very interesting.
The steamship ride was $500 and the outfit was $500. You would have normally gotten an outfit in Seattle or San Francisco, and it would have cost you $500, and the steamship was $500, so that would have been $20,000. You had to have money when you came up here.
Called the White Pass Trail. The other trail is 10 miles right outside of town here called the Chilkoot Trail, where you can see like the ants going up the mountain. I don't know if you've seen that famous picture of the Chilkoot Trail. Okay, so those are one of the 2 trails that you would have taken. Now, you would have had to have had 2,000 pounds to carry up and over the pass where we are going today, straight up 3,000 feet. There's no way. I couldn't even carry a backpack. Believe me, where we are going today is unbelievable.
This tater was hauled straight from Dawson City. There we go. Now, there's a highly technical skill you got to do in order to shake the gold out. Oh, I just gave it away. Now, I need you guys to pay attention, okay? Everybody looking? Here we go. Yeah, I gave my secret the way you got to shake. There's got to be a whole lot of shaking going on. Now you see you're going to shake this pan for about 1 to 2 hours. Wait a minute, wrong? Minutes, 1 to 2 minutes, he just corrected me. That's all, that sounds better, my arms are already tired. So 1 to 2 minutes, all the gold will go straight to the bottom because it's about 19 times heavier than the rest. Then after you've been shaking a while, you're going to tip your pan forward, keep shaking, we're not done. No. See how that gravel at the edge? Oh, look at that. That's good. It's like a little band. Now have a look at the angle of our pan here.
Who else needs some help around here? Alan and Tony and Sue. And Carol.
No, think of Peter Pan.
Oh, Wendy! No, I never would have thought of that. Did you get some gold? You did, Sue.
Oh, I know. It's exciting, isn't it?
It is exciting, yes.
I hope you're luckier with your gold mine.
I hope I am too. We've only found $200 worth in 7 years.
We're now weighing the gold flakes we found.
I'm on the video
This is Wendy gets gold weighed. And then she gets $4 worth. So it's $7.
I'm on 2 videos. I'm feeling super special.
We're back to England.
Yes, I always wanted to go there. Do you mean a wave?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great.
Oh, that didn't come out. I'm going to do it again.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's all right. 3.9 grains, so it's worth $8.78.
We're now getting on to the White Pass Scenic Railway on this train. And hopefully we're going to get some fantastic views going up to White Horse Pass.
Pretty cool.
Sue, did you look back?
Okay, we got those guys all situated then. Now, Sue, what do you guys do back in England?
I thought I was there, Tony.
We're now just crossing from the US border into Canada.
Gonna start jerking. Once they pull that engine off, just be careful, okay? And then when the train completely stops, I'm Dawson Dolly. I got the biggest train in Klondike. Yep. Yay, we're in Canada! Yay! Yeah, yeah. Yeah, he's gonna pull off the back, and then there's gonna be the caboose. He's gonna hook up the front and pull it down. That's why we got a two-car seat.
This is the head of the White Horse Pass. We're just about 3,100 feet elevation above sea level. This is as far as we go. We've just come into Canada, obviously, and we're now on our return trip back to Skagway.
Two cement pads that were off to the right-hand side are helicopter pads. Helicopters do shot.
True story. So he had this little black dog. So he bites me and he dies, and his leg stuck straight up in the air like rigor mortis. And anyway, the guy's eyes got as big as saucers, and he backs up and he goes, "Who are you?" And I said, "What do you mean, who am I? Does your dog have shots?" And so yeah, that's a true story. So he let us go across. We got some gold and we got some fish, and yeah, first time I ever a gold pan dog bit me and died. Has that ever happened to you guys? No? Is that a normal story? No. Anyway, so that's a true story. But I wanted to share with you guys, have you ever heard of Robert Service? Yes, I wanted the gold and I got it. Came out with a fortune last fall. Yet somehow life's not what I thought it. And somehow the gold isn't all. No, there's the land. Have you seen it? It's the cussedest land that I know. From the big dizzy mountains that screen it to the deep death-like valleys below. Some say God was tired when he made it. Some say it's a fine land to shun. Maybe and there's something as we're traded. No land on earth and I'm one. You come to get rich. Damn good reason. You feel like an exile at first. You hate it like hell for a season, and then you were worse than the worst.
Well, we've arrived back at the dockside safely, and it was really an excellent trip we've had up into the mountains on this train. And as you can see, they brought us right back to the dockside, adjacent to the ship. Just fantastic. And this is probably the final shot of Skagway where we're docked. We're due to leave here in about an hour and a half's time. Beautiful spot, surrounded by snow-capped mountains and typical sort of field-like harbour. And we've had a wonderful day. Good morning, it's Thursday, 21st, and it's now 7:30 in the morning, and we're just in the process of entering Glacier Bay, where hopefully we will see 2 or 3 glaciers that extend right down into the sea, into the water. So looking forward to this. You can actually see a glacier behind this sort of island or so in front. Snow-capped mountains behind it. As I say, it's fairly early, it's only 7:30, so we should get some much better views closer up and more clearer as the sun comes up. We moved on further into Glacier Bay, and we're just starting to see little bits of glacial ice on the water, as you can see, and obviously we're approaching the end of the fjord and the glaciers. We've just passed one glacier, which we were on the opposite side, our cabin's on the opposite side, this is on the port side, so we've missed that, but hopefully we can view this when we return. Just panning around. We're obviously very close to shore at the moment, but the fjord is exceptionally deep, in excess of 1,000 feet, I understand. So I would imagine we're fairly safe. They've obviously done this many, many times.
Yeah, so I don't know if they're up somewhere or. Well, Zach said, but he told us.
I was up when we were up to 6 this morning.
Yeah, well.
I saw Rose. They went to the 6.
Now, though we can see change in millennia that's taking place over millennia in the mountains around us, change that's taken place in centuries in the fact that the ice that was here has disappeared, change in years in the rising shoreline, we can actually also see change that happens daily, continuous activity. And that's of course evidenced by the ice that's floating in the water, isolating small patches of land, wiping them down to soil, and studying what plants would colonize and in what order. But what better place to study change than here? You see, when the glaciers advanced and receded, they wiped the slate clean. There was nothing left. They ground away everything down to the barest bedrock. Well, William Skinner Cooper came to Glacier Bay and noticed that despite the fact that the glaciers essentially destroyed all life in this place, their new life returned once the glaciers receded. In that hard bedrock, inhospitable terrain, pioneering plants, mosses, lichens, fireweeds would make and take root, breaking down that rock into the rough soil, starting a process which would lead to a forest. So knowing this, Cooper urged the Ecological Society of America to ask then-President Calvin Coolidge to set aside Glacier Bay as a national monument, which he did so on February 26, 1925. Glacier Bay later expanded to become a national park and preserve in 1980.
Some people, of course, are taking their relaxation very seriously. But, of course, it's quite an exceptional place to carry out those sort of exercises.
Hey, what? Did I miss anything?
We're just entering another inlet now. And interestingly, just passing us, a few hundred yards away, is another cruise ship, the Norwegian Star.
January 1st, we lived in one place in my mother's place. All my brothers was going there, all my cousins, we had a big party, dance party, a lot of foods, the table, very nice. Yes, that's right. So you back right? So maybe escape. Maybe coming back. That's a kind of
Big dirty mess. Nevertheless, this was the glacier. Despite its not so majestic look now, this was the glacier that filled up this entire place. This was the main trunk of the glacier that was 4,000 feet thick. Of course, at this point, it's much smaller. It's not 4,000 feet thick. Its height is about 150 feet above.
The first real sign of Arctic life we've seen. There's a seal on one of the small parts of the glacier they've broken off. Just gone now.
You guys have about Marjorie Glacier or about anything else that we've discussed today. But once again, while we are here, please refrain from feeding these gulls. Many of these gulls are juveniles, and if they are fed, they may die in the winter. If they become conditioned or accustomed to, as some gulls have done in the past, they will die because they are unable to feed themselves in the winter when they have to go out into the ocean to survive. Nevertheless, I look forward to
Basically, they're meant to be looking at this just in case of cars. Is it C-A-L-V-S or C-A-R? Oh, we had a voice.
Sorry? There's this ice cave. I don't quite know whether you can see inside, but there's sort of meltwater rushing out. That's probably actually formed this recess. Oh, it's just beautiful and very fortunate today. The weather is very clear and blue skies, and it really makes the whole place outstanding. Adjacent to the Marjorie Glacier here, we have the Grand Pacific Glacier, which, although it looks like land in front of us, this is in fact the face of the glacier, covered in debris, etc., which is something like 2 miles wide and goes off into the distance for some 35 miles. And this is in fact the remnants of the original glacier that formed Glacier Bay. But obviously the Marjorie Glacier is totally clean and far more interesting. This is virtually the complete face of the Marjorie Glacier, and obviously it just goes off again into the mountains in the distance.
Oh, thank you so much. Hi. Hi, ma'am. Yes, we're talking. Wendy? Yes. I really don't think that's a piece of ice.
there. Oh, wow.
Did you get that, Salem?
Right over in the corner.
As we leave the Marju Glacier, one can at least partly see the length as it proceeds into the distance up the mountainside. And that must be 3 or 4 miles at least.
On the side, that's beautiful. Did you feel a glacier with your bare hand there?
It's easier to have fun in it. Yeah, I can see them there.
We've come out to the mouth of Marju Bay, and we turned north. We're seeing some very high mountainous scenery right on the coast here. Can't tell you the name of the mountain tops, but they're sort of almost a tablecloth of cloud with them. Just to see the snow-capped mountains poking through the cloud. That would be very beautiful if the cloud layer wasn't present. Anyway, we're now proceeding to College Field, which we will see tomorrow. Good morning, it's Friday morning, our last full day on board, and we're cruising up towards College Bay and Whittier, where we will be disembarking tomorrow morning prior to heading off to Anchorage. Stunning snow-capped mountains right in the distance. Just a little bit too far away to get clear detail. We've already seen a number of whales this morning, not particularly close to the boat, but they're around, so hopefully we may see some more during the day. We're now travelling in College Field, the last full day of our cruise, and just look at some of this magnificent scenery we have in front of us. Snow-capped mountains as far as the eye can see. Well, we are in the centre of the ship, the atrium, and this is like the customer services desk. Very attractive here, of course, and very similar to like some of the other ships that we've been on. As the day develops, the scenery just gets better and better. And just look at this in the distance. All these beautiful snow-capped mountains. Otters in the water. 3. 4 now. Goodness gracious. Filming an otter again, quite close to the ship. We seem to have a family of about 4 or 5 just here. Another group of 5 here. The previous group I was able to 10 in the family group. Well, the scenery is nothing but stunning at the moment. The one disappointment really is as of this moment we've not been able to observe a whale reasonably close, but who knows, maybe this one is quietly laying on his back and probably sound asleep. In about half an hour's time we shall actually be entering College Field, but in the meantime, as I said just now, the scenery is just getting more and more spectacular. just now commencing our entry into College Field, and as you can see in the distance, I can now see 1, 2, 3 on the left, and the main central glacier right in the centre of the frame, which just goes back into the mountains in the distance. It's beautiful.
Pretty quickly. Well, all it needs to do is melt a little bit, allow for that to start to condense, and it just begins to feel heavier and heavier. So it's not that you're going to have a glacier occurring in your driveway, but the principle is somewhat the same. Once the glacier ice has accumulated and it's reached enough weight, then gravity is what causes the ice mass to move downhill. And since glaciers will usually take the path of least resistance, they will follow stream beds or other natural channels down the mountainside. Glacier ice is fairly sedentary too. Glaciers are usually in a constant state of either retreating or advancing. Glacier at 11 would be Bryn Mawr, and directly ahead of us, of course, is the Harvard Glacier. Point on our starboard side. And if you're looking backwards, we have the Bryn Mawr and Smith, the Vassar Glacier, and the Wellesley Glacier to the aft. If you've been keeping your eyes peeled, you probably noticed that we've been welcomed to the front of the Harvard Glacier by a bald eagle. It's been doing some magnificent
The ship is now turning slowly, such that the viewing people on the port side can have a good look. size of the boat. I'll give you some idea of the magnitude that we're looking at in terms of the face of the glacier. The boat is obviously now turning around slowly to return down the fjord into the open sea and to travel overnight to Whittier. But I think it's a stunning culmination to the cruise that we've experienced. It's now 10 minutes past 10 and obviously it's still pretty light and won't be getting sort of dark until midnight or so tonight, but we're just getting this beautiful dappled light on the mountaintops in the distance. Beautiful spot. The time is now actually 5 minutes past midnight and we've just pulled into the port of Whittier just south of Anchorage, and although it's gone midnight, it's obviously still sufficiently light enough to film the harbour and the surrounding hills, which again, as you can see, are covered by snow. Anyway, we'll have a look at this in the morning. Good morning, it's Saturday the 23rd and it's now sort of 7:15 in the morning, and this is to compare with the light situation we had at just after midnight last night. Everybody's in the process of disembarking now. Our turn will come in about an hour or so's time before we head off to a hotel in Anchorage where we'll pick our car up tomorrow. Anyway, this is the little port of Whittier as I described last night. So let's go and see Anchorage.
And it takes you out to see it. What's he taking pictures of? Just never know. You need to look around. In the summertime, when the snow melts from the mountains, the moose like to go up on hike. Really nasty stuff. Now there's so much silt out in this water that
just to give you a little bit of a flavour, this is the view from our hotel room in Anchorage, and we're looking across to the north, and as I say, it's just gone 10 o'clock, and the sun's got a long way to go down yet, so it's going to be light until at least gone midnight. And in the distance you might just be able to make out the likes of Mount McKinley, which is the highest mountain in Anchorage. Sorry, in Alaska. Anyway, we're picking a car up in the morning and then driving north up to the Denali National Park. Good morning, it's Sunday morning. We've just been to the airport and picked up our hire car, back to the hotel and loaded all of our luggage. And we're now heading north up the Glen Highway, and we're heading up to Denali National Park, where we should arrive in about 5 hours travelling time. We're just approaching the old Alaskan town of Talkeetna, which apparently is literally 100 years old and hardly touched since then. This is the car we've got on hire, a Chevrolet Ventura, very, very nice and spacious. And this is downtown Talkeetna. Talkeetna is about 100 miles north of Anchorage on the way to Denali, and it literally is a small sort of one-block town, as they say, but pretty commercialised, really, considering it's supposed to be typical of an Alaskan village that's set up at the edge of the gold rush just over 100 years ago. Anyway, it's a change, and we've been able to have a spot of lunch, etc. Well, we're literally just entered the actual national park of Denali, and we've got a beautiful view of the mountains in the distance. We believe, not certain, but we believe this is, in the distance, Mount McKinley, which is the highest mountain in North America. It's something like just over 20,000 feet. But we should get a lot closer to that in the next couple of days.
That's why I hold you dear. Blue moons, you are the one of my dreams. I thought you'd never appear. That's why you're such I thought you'd never appear. That's why you are a dear. True to my heart.
Have you not written your diary yet?
This is the Denali Lake View Inn, which we've booked via the internet, and it's at this moment it's exceeded our expectations. It's about 20 minutes north of the entrance to the Denali National Park, and of course, as you can see, we just overlook the Otto Lake here in front of us and the mountains in the background. I'll just sweep around and you can get a flavour of what we're looking at, and it's just stunning. Very quiet, very peaceful. Little float plane down here. Very nice indeed. Good morning. It's the day that we're actually going to go on a tour of the Denali National Park, and here we are at the entrance, just going in. Well, we've travelled I don't know, 5 or 6 miles into the park on this bus, and we've come up to something like 2,500 feet, but the main purpose of stopping is, one, to have a panoramic view of the mountains that's surrounding us, but also to look here. In the distance, which we're being told by the driver is some 75 miles away, is in fact Mount McKinley, that is about 20,320 feet high above sea level, and obviously is the highest point in North America.
And when you see those clouds, you don't see the mountains. We're lucky they're behind us.
It must have been in cloud yesterday, mustn't it? We were saying that, yeah.
It is so quiet here, it's unbelievable. And then back to the bus.
It's on the north, we're on the north. Okay?